Alright you guys, welcome back to another deck list video. Today we are going to be looking at Blaine's Last Resort. Now if you didn't watch the What's in the March Madness deck preview, and you just looked at the tournament, or you looked at all of our decks, or whatever, and you're like, wow, what's Blaine's Last Resort? That deck looks weird. Here you go, here it is, this is fun. So what Blaine's Last Resort says is you can't play this card if you have any cards in your hand other than Blaine's Last Resort. Show your hand to your opponent, and then draw 5 cards. Yeah, it's not great. It's basically like, oh, I got 0 cards in my deck, in my hand, whatever. So this is just a good way of summing up the way this deck is played. Is it is a no energy deck / low energy deck / all your Pokemon are going to attack for free. Thumbs up. So just going to dive right into it. Why not? I'm going to go ahead and throw this back in the items here. You kind of already see that first one. Slowking. The deck was built around the idea of this Slowking at first, and then we saw Blaine's Last Resort, and then we thought about some other stuff, and then we're like, oh man, this is how you build this deck. So what Slowking does, it says unarmed. If you have no cards in your hand, ignore the energy attacks to use this attack. So it's just a free 110 damage if you have no cards in your hand. Whoa! Granted, it's kind of hard to get no cards in your hand, and then it leaves you vulnerable to other things. But hey, you know, whatever. That's just kind of one of those things that we're gonna live with. So, Slowking line is not only a 1/1, but it's actually a 2/2, because you're also playing the second sight Slowking. So the idea is to get no cards in your hand, and then second sight yourself, and put a card that you want on top of your deck. So, if you have no cards in your hand, you hit them for 110 on a non-EX Pokemon, second sight yourself, look and say, oh, there's the Blaine's Last Resort, you put that on the top, you top deck that, boom, draw till you have 5, now your turn's going. So, that's where you play second sight, that's where the whole core of the deck comes from, and all that fun stuff. So, we're going to go ahead and look at some other cards that can attack for free. One of them is going to be the new Alone and Eradicate. We're going to evolve from the Rattata that removes tool cards. And what this does, it says if you have a tool card attached, it does 50 more damage. So if you have a Muscle Band on that sucker, it's doing 80 damage for free. I like that idea. And you don't need anything special. You don't need like a weird amount of cards in your hand or anything. And then perhaps the most famous free attacker in the game is going to be Yanmega Prime. It is an EX, so that kind of sucks. It snipes for 40 and does 70, but it all does for free on a free retreater. If you have the same number of cards in your hand as your opponent, that's when you can use it for free. So there's that for free. We're also going to play this Yanmega for free. If you have 4 cards in your hand, you can use this attack for free. It does 50 and then 70 more if they have a tool attached to them, so that's really cool. And then this Yanmega, you can attack for free, does 10 and then 10 to all of your opponent's bench. Might not necessarily be the best one, but it does have that 10 spread. And then we also are going to play the Yanmega Break to go with all that. It does 100 damage, true damage, just straight on through. So, those are all the ones that can attack for free. It's there's 5 attackers that are all attacking for free. How cool is that? Plus your Break, because your Break goes on all those Yanmegas you have. Support Pokemon are actually kind of abundant in a deck like this. Because you need to have those support Pokemon, because you're going to have either a weird hand size, 0 hand size, or, you know, what have you. In the Unknown department, we are going to play Unknown Retire, and Unknown AOR, plus Unknown Quick. This is just to, like, you know, if you have these on your bench, next turn you can use them to draw extra cards. We're going to have Oranguru. You're going to have a low hand side most of the time anyway, so Oranguru is kind of a great way. And then we're going to play a Registeel that has Regimove. That's so you can discard 2 cards from your hand, have them switch. They do have to be an evolved Pokemon, but it is a great way to get cards out of your hand. And then you're going to be looking at the standard 10 cards here. Actually, no, not standard 10 cards. There are some weirdities. There is one weirdity. You're going to play these 6 that are standard. You're going to play the Spiritomb, you're going to play the Lapras, you're going to play the Uxie, but you're also only going to play the Pikachu, the Pichu, because you don't have the energy for Dunsparce. I mean, there are energies in this deck, but there are not very many, so, like, attacking with that, not fantastic. So we play the Pichu instead of the Dunsparce. And that does it for Pokemon. A lot of Pokemon in this deck, so hopefully it doesn't clog up your hand too much. Moving on to supporters, we're going to see an AZ. We're going to see, there's actually quite a bit of them here. That's a pretty thick stack. Bebe Search, Colress, Copycat. We're playing a Desert Shaman. This is just the original Judge. It's both player shuffle draw 4. It activates your Yanmega from Steam Siege. Guzma and Hex Maniac. You don't want to Hex too often. You can Hex when you have the Slowking, because that's the effect of an attack, but you can't Hex with your Yanmegas because that's an ability, so be warned about that. Iris, because damage output can be an issue with this deck. Judge goes along with the Desert Shaman, gets to 4 in your hand. Karina staple, Lysander staple, and Trump card all staple. Same with Marley's and N, both staple looking cards. You do play a Mallow, but you don't play an Oracle, and that would be a consideration for this deck especially, because if your goal is to have 0 cards in your hand with the Slow King, Mallowing or Oracling as your last card so that you can top deck something good is kind of important, so there's that. Collector, Juniper, Oaks, and Sycamore, all staple. You're playing Psychic's Third Eye. It kind of resets your hand, that's what that does. Discard as many cards from your hand and draw that many. If you are ending up clumping with your supporters, you can discard them with Psychic's Third Eye to draw some other stuff. Rocket's Admin, Shuffle and Draw. Rosie's for Search. Skyla, Teammates. You are playing Twins because I feel like this deck can fall behind early because you're trying to set up your hand sizes. And then Wally. So a lot of supporters in this deck. That's 21, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it is a little bit higher than normal. So you could worry about supporter clumping, but then again, you want to second sight the top deck so you can have a draw supporter in your hand if you're going for that Slow King. The thing I like about this deck is that Slow King is not necessarily the focus of getting no cards in your hand, but it is the attack that does the most damage. So if you end up having cards in your hand, then you can just Mega. If you can ever get that turn where you don't have cards in your hand, then go for the Slow King. Pretty cool stuff. Supporter or items, there's going to be a little bit some unique ones in here. You're going to have the Bill. You're definitely going to have that Blaine's Last Resort, like I said. Computer Search. You are going to have Dual Ball as extra search. I like to play cards that are failable in this deck, so Dual Ball is one of those that you can just play it, flip, oh whatever, I failed it. Erica to help you draw. This is one of those cards you could put on top with Second Sight. Escape Rope, Evo Soda, both staple. Imposter Oak's Invention gets a little bit better in this deck because this card is one of those ones where you draw, you just play it. So this card is all about getting no cards in your hand and controlling your hand size. Oak's Invention is great there. Item Fighter, Junk Arm, both super good in this deck to control hand size. Level Ball and Lux Ball, staple. You have Maintenance to control your hand size and try to get it down to 0. Shuffle 2 back in to draw 1. Hopefully you draw something like an Oak's Invention to play it, get your hand size down. Misty's Wrath is staple. Pow Pad. You have Pokemon Catcher in this deck because it's another card that you can just always play down and get your hand size lower. It's one of those cards that you control your hand size by either playing it or not playing it. Yes, it's a flip, but hey. You could also play Pokemon Reversal for that same reason, but we don't play Pokemon Reversal, just Catcher. But you could consider playing that one as well. Communication and Retriever, staple stuff there. Oaks, you also play a Rescue Stretcher and a Retriever. Control your hand size a little bit, like I said, because this is one of those ones where you can either put the 1 card back in your hand and go 1-for-1 trade, or you can shuffle 3 from your discard back in just to get rid of it. Secret Mission, same as Psychic's Third Eye. If you're clumping, that's a great card to declump. Switch you can always play, Sweep you can always play. We play Timer Ball, same sort of thing as Level Ball. You can always just fail it, or you can search. Ultra Ball versus Secret, and Windstorm. You could consider not playing Windstorm because it could be a dead card in your hand if there's nothing there. But Windstorm I think is too good not to play. So that does it for items. I'm trying to think if there's any items that I missed out on that's like, oh, you can play this. Maybe something like a Bicycle or a Mail from Bill as the top card. It's kind of the same thing as Blaine's Last Resort, but it says you draw till you're 4. So Bicycle and, yeah, actually those should be in here because of the Steam Siege Mega. Bicycle and Mail from Bill, play both of those. Moving on to stadiums, it's going to be 4 of them. You can see Broken Time Space and Forest of Giant Plants. Both of those for evolutions. I'm looking at one real fast because I'm kind of confused why it's in here initially. Boop, 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 boo. Yeah, we have Dimension Valley in here, and I think that's so that you can Uxie for free. I'm pretty sure that's why. It's kind of just a counter stadium. There are a few Psychics in this deck, so it is one of those things to consider. And then Skyfield. Skyfield's great to play down your Skyfield and bench all these Pokemon that you have in your hand to get your hand size where you want it. All those are there. Now, Choice Band, Floatstone, Fluffy Berry, Muscle Band, Rescue Scarf, Rocky Helmet. There's a lot of items here because we have the room. Rocky Helmet's going to be great just to kind of add that extra 20 damage where you need to. But one thing that I would consider, now that I'm looking at the deck, just talking about it, Dimension Valley and Rocky Helmet could both be dropped for Jamming Net and Headringer to activate the extra 70 damage on your Steam Siege Yamega. I realize I didn't build this deck really around Steam Siege Omega, but it's something that you could do because it is a very good attacker. So what I would do is I would drop Dimension Valley and Broken Times, or Dimension Valley and Rocky Helmet for those 2 flare tools, and then I would find a way to fit in Mail from Bill and Bicycle some way. But anyways, these all should be self-explanatory. Extra damage. I'm not sure why the Rocky Helmet's in there. I'm sure I had a reason initially. Fluffy Berry Floats Down, and then Rescue Stretcher to keep your stuff looped. Lots of room in this deck. You're going to play the 4 plus Dowsing Machine. No reason kind of not to on any of those. And then to finish out, you do have energies. We are going to play 4 just because there are... oh, you know what? The Rocky Helmet's in there for Raticate. It's just kind of an extra way to activate the Raticate's attack. That's why it's in there. Okay. Blend Energy is in here because there is a grass attack. You could... it's to use the first John Mega's attack if you need a snipe for 40. That's one reason. But the other reason is because we are playing Psychics, and like the real reason we play Psychics is Drift to Shore is actually a good attack. Search your deck for a card and put it into your hand. So if you ever need to Drift to Shore, you have the option there. That's why we play that. And then the Blend is just like, hey, like, you know, this could be a Psychic Energy or it could be a Grass Energy, so you could linear attack if you need to. You could play like a Rainbow Energy, and then if you're ever pushed into a situation where you need to pursue and turn, you could do that as well. But yes, that does it for the deck. It is kind of a weirder deck, and I don't think we built it necessarily as optimally as we could have. But if you have any other ideas, go for it. If you want to build this differently, please go for it. Our word is never final. So yes, if you have any questions, let us know. If not, hope you enjoyed.